think the video is starting. I'm not sure. Okay, it looks like it's going. This is a pop-up live. Hi, it's Katherine Skaggs. I've been doing a lot of things. Everything from being in Egypt and sacred sites and temples to having a respiratory infection and laryngitis last week when I got home. And I'm getting back at it, and I'm excited, and I'm impassioned, and a lot is going on. I am reaching out because there's so much chaos going on in the world. I know many of you are frightened, and you have a lot of right to be. And we have, on a soul level, I'm here to talk to you about from a soul level what's going on, what each of us need to be doing individually, and asking for some guidance from the tarot, as well as I'm channeling ascended masters, archangels, and other higher dimensional divine beings now. Not only am I personal channelings for individuals from a soul level. Sorry, my dog's in the background. She's gonna make some noise. But also starting to get ready to do group readings, and I'm here to let them come through in whatever way they want to right now as we're speaking. We have a lot of help, and as scary as it is on just the human level, it's really important for all of you who catch this is that you're somehow grounding every day. You're working with your own personal energy body, taking as much responsibility and honesty with yourself to clean yourself of fear. Easier said than done. There's going to be some energy come through tonight to help you, and along with guidance. So, this is all about an energy shift and recognizing that you signed up to be here right now and that you make a difference. As we collectively work on our higher consciousness, and how to embody that through love, through kindness, through justice, through standing up for what's good for right and right for one or another, we make a difference in what can happen for the rest of humanity. We've got to do it in bits and pieces. This is going to take years to shift. And yet, everything we do makes a difference now as to whether we can go to the higher timelines or not. So, I'm inviting you in to connect to your light, to ground it here, and also know that together in our consciousness and in our daily actions, how we show up, we are going to shift what seems like impossibility to shift. It is a revolution. Believe me, it's a spiritual revolution. The United States is in a revolution. The world at large has its own revolution. And I'm getting a lot of energy right now from the guides as I'm shuffling and talking to you. I don't know who all's here, I can't see right now, but I am here to help bring in the awareness that Archangel Michael, all the archangels, ascended masters, and many teams of light are here personally working for humanity and for you to help bring this light through you. That each of us are part of the conduits to bring it into this dimension. So I'm speaking in multidimensional terms of trying to make it very practical. Your kindness, your love, there are different beings that you are connected to, each of you individually and collectively. So I am going to start with the mythical goddess Tro and let the guides speak through me. What is most important right now is we're at this equinox moving from winter to spring. And we are really in a shift in so many ways. There's so many influences from the higher dimensions into our astrology, into the ground of what we're doing here on earth that is influencing us. Do not be afraid that miracles can happen. Miracles are happening all the time. You are part of that. If you are open to it, believe me, it is time for miracles to come through in everyday life, and they are happening. I can attest to that. Okay, I'm going to throw 15 cards for the mythical goddess Tro to speak to what's going on in the world right now and what do we need to pay attention to in regards to this shift energetically and moving into springtime. It's time for endings and new beginnings, individually and collectively. As crazy as it is in the world, it's important to know that things are in process. And the way that you connect to envisioning a new future, it starts with your thoughts, your emotions, and then your actions to make change personally and collectively. Right now, with all the fright, fear, and trauma going on, we need as much assistance as possible to clear the fear patterns in our field and to help come up to the next level of consciousness that we're all capable of. that we absolutely are capable of. And I can't see y'all for some reason. I don't have my settings going on, so I'm not sure who's saying what here. All right. So, as I shuffle the cards, first three cards have a lot to do with who are we. And we, is that you and your local tribe? Is that you and your family? Is that the United States? Is that the world at large? Well, I did start talking about humanity as I began this. So, this is the bigger picture of all of us, both how you live and how you find this energy that you can work with in the big picture that does affect all of humanity, all of this reality in this world. So the first card that shows up is the fruition card. It's an earth card, and it is a woman with a basket of fruit on her head. She's abundant. She's carrying it through a tribe. Now, right now, one of the things we're seeing in the United States is, and around the world, is we have oligarchs, we've got billionaires, we've got millionaires, trillionaires who have all these resources. And then the rest of us have what we have. What this card is saying, as humanity has enough for us to go around. So the changes that are here are for us to individually recognize that the divine brings to earth everything we need. It looks like a shit show. I am not going to kid you. And for all of us who want to stand up and know that those resources are for the tribe, they're not for one. Because if one has all the fruit in the basket, guess what? It's going to go rotten before they can eat it all. They're either going to get sick eating it or it's going to go to waste. So that basket full of fruit, all our resources are for all the people. Now, maybe you already know that. And it's like, well, yeah, what are we going to do about the situations at hand? Well, let's start here and let's see what the rest of the energy is coming through. There's a lot of assistance in the invisible worlds and even in the ground crew we haven't seen yet, from what my guides are telling me, that are here to help us. And so we have to do it in our own backyard. If you've got a tribe that you work with, do it with your tribe. If you have a larger influence, influence as many people as possible to know that generosity and equality are some of the foundational spiritual principles that we have as part of our morality for those who will claim it, to make a difference and to act that out in this reality. And it seems like we're going uphill right now, but we've got to do what we can do and know that the rest is coming together as the higher guidance is coming in, and that these energies are coming in to evolve each and every one of us, to evolve these systems that are falling apart, and that there's something to happen that is going to benefit in the long run. But we all have to take responsibility, and we must do what we can do individually and collectively. Okay, that's the first guidance coming in. Another card here is Mary Magdalene. She's in the Tarot in our deck. She is a higher arcana. She represents divine energy coming in right now. This is an evolution, a revolution, and what this card says is an initiation. So, what are initiations? You know, ancient Egypt, which I'll talk about from my trip, you know, the priests, the priestesses, those who would go through their initiations, their next steps were challenges to get them to the next level of consciousness. Humanity as a whole is not operating on much of what it's capable of. We have so much more potential that it is time for us individually to do what we can to meet the challenges and to come up to a level of our heart space and wisdom that allows us to work with the idea of reciprocity, to work with universal laws and truths, to work with how do we work with energy, thought, and emotion to be a co creator in our physical reality. You have this in your DNA, whether you were taught it growing up or at later in life, or maybe now this is a new idea to you. But as you focus on what you desire, even when you meet challenges, this challenge is to overcome the darkness in yourself and in the world around you. Any fear that arises and patterns that triggers you is your opportunity to ask for your higher guidance, to ask for spiritual help, to ask for human help to overcome a challenge. We must band together. We've got to do our own part and then initiate into how do we co create. Having a good idea about how you are curious about making change is a great beginning. All right. The next card is Ace Manifestation. So we've got an abundance card here that says we have all that we need. We're being initiated into a new way of being. It looks like through a lot of hardship. And we have a card that is all about new beginnings and abundance. This is a physical card. This is about creating your reality from your most beautiful desires. And I've been thinking metaphysically about a lot lately about your thoughts create, thoughts are things. Most of us, if you're watching the news, are being drug into a lot of terrible things that are bringing you down. They're controlling you in a way. And I had a teacher a long time ago who said, if you don't control your mind, guess what? Others will. So if you notice yourself going down the rabbit hole of fear, what can you do to come back to a place of all is given, that abundance is there, and to face the fear you have about what's before you? This is evolutionary individually and collectively. We have to face what's going on. We can't turn our heads to it. We must face it, and we must face our own fears. And then we must start to choose, how do we envision creating something different? How do we envision standing up to what is not okay? How do we envision coming together? Many people are protesting, many people are taking actions. There are things happening. We must also look for the good as we look through the shadows of the darkness. All right, what's the big picture? What's going on here? Well, I've got some very interesting cards here. The first card shows me the Earth Beauty card, which is like, what? What is this about? And you think it'd just show me all the horrible stuff going on. In the big picture, on a soul level, I would say that this is about getting to work on Earth, seeing the beauty that it has, recognizing it's filled with resources everywhere, that there's life giving energy in this Earth, whether it be plants and all these things. We have to come back to respect our planet as well as our own bodies, ourselves, and our life on this planet. That if we don't see the beauty in this place, if all we see is ugly, like some people are, is that we're not going to get to where we want to be. This is the potential human that we are working on. I am talking very esoterically. I want to make it down to earth. In your own life, it's important to bring in beauty. It's important to honor the earth. It's important to honor yourself in every action, whether it's where you work, whether it's your family, whether it's your body, or anything about your health. This is us taking the next step and doing what we can to live in more beauty, to bring beauty to the world. When there is ugly, we need to be the beauty. That is the contrast here, and that is where our big picture is, that is calling our souls up to the next level. There's another card that I'm being told to pick up next. It's the Crone Transmutation of Fire. And it tells me, yeah, for us to get to beauty, we have a lot of fiery energy that needs to come up to transmute the ugly. That on an energetic level, on a metaphysical level, on a practical human level, we need to find the fire and the passion in ourselves, the kundalini, to pull that energy up through us to purify all the ugly, all the distortions. Our timelines are distorted. They are not for the highest timeline. We are here to activate a new timeline of possibility for a greater human expression. So we must deal with all that has been underhanded for eons. We've been in cultures that have been conquering cultures. We need to bring up our fire in every place in our lives to face any places where there's lies within us or our lives, any places where we're not kind, any places where we are not in alignment with our heart and with a greater reality of prosperity, of joy, of community, and of sharing. And this is a personal empowerment that is not about power over anyone. This is about the power of the people and the power of all of us coming together to make a difference. One little thing at a time. We can't do it all at once. It's like if you're at a buffet, start with what you can put on your plate and eat. Don't worry about the rest of it. Do what you can before you and transmute the things in your life that are not in alignment with what's in your highest and best good. Have a fire ceremony, clean your closet, but it's time to let go of attachments that are to things that take you down, whether it be too much social media, watching bad news and getting depressed. Pay attention to the little things in your life that will create a bigger and new, different reality. So we've got the fire destruction card here too. Yeah, in the big picture, a lot of stuff is falling apart. I want to say a lot of shit's falling apart because I'm pretty irreverent. Um, you know, self destruction is part of it. As much as we see these people with lots of money making terrible decisions that are harmful to a lot of people, it's harming themselves. And in the big picture, if we don't look out for one another, if we aren't allies for the best and highest good with one another, we do harm to ourselves as well as to each other. We are not in the big picture. We are here to overcome self destruction as a species because I'm speaking to humanity. This is a highly destructive, falling apart time. It's the end of the Kali Yuga. It is the end of a 12, 13,000 year cycle that happened. There was a great fall after Atlantis. And we are going through a period that is offering us a death and rebirth. Now, it's really important in our own lives that we take personal responsibility to die to the ego, to let go of the things that are born of selfishness, that are born of fear, that are born of lack, that are born of greed, that are born of afraid you're not good enough, that you don't stand in your power. And power meaning that which is good for you brings you into the being a light for other people. That you're able to do that when you release these patterns of disconnect, these patterns of fear. And my guides are bringing in some energies right now that want to clear that through light language. So I've not done this on a tarot reading right before, but I'm going to do it right now. Is that Archangel Michael and many of the divine beings that I work with are here. Mother Mary's here, Yeshua's here, many, Kuan Yin, Buddha, Isis, many are here in this time to bring in good energy. So just open up to for a minute and receive this. Is working to remove self-destructive patterns. You may feel an energy shift as you take this in. That's just a little bit of light language to start shifting the energy to allow you to soften, to open, and to allow all the good stuff to start coming in and any self-destructive patterns to start falling away. For all of those you viewing this, come back to this place if you're called to it. If you're not, just let it come through. All right, what's the lessons that are being learned now by humanity? Hopefully. Well, what's interesting is with this revolution that we're in, this is astrologically timed, this is a predicted time, and we're in it. We're in it. We have the void card here sitting in the middle of our lessons, our challenges, and our opportunities. So the void, the great void, what is that? It's like the Akasha. It's this energetic potential of the divine. It's like a big cosmic womb. Imagine the divine mother's womb and that you plant an idea in there and then you create it. So this is where we are right now. We are in a void type area. As much as we're in a destruction time, there is a death and an in-between time before birth. So this is a time when things are difficult, when things are falling apart. It's important to go be quiet. It's important to go be still. It's important to go connect to your higher self. Every one of you is divine soul expressing through this little sliver of your soul as your personality in this reality. So imagine when you go get still, you ask for your highest divine God, goddess, divine self to connect to you through white light, through your connection and your imagination, your intention. That you go into this void. You may imagine it like a room filled with stars. That you go sit in there and you ask for whatever you need to come through and clean you of your fear and bring in this light for you so that you can make this initiation step through fear to greater awareness of how you can consciously create with love and have that be your foundation for why you're here. Humanity is in this place of possibility. It doesn't look like it. But when things fall apart, there's a natural procession to the in between spaces and then to deciding what do you want to create. So there's many deaths and rebirths going on right now, many in between spaces. So the challenge is to take the space in the in between and to dream, to imagine, to create intentionally what you want to experience, not just live by things happening to you. This is part of what is the initiation for the next step. Next to that is the card Child Design. It's an earth card. It's a little girl holding a acorn with a great big oak tree behind her. Now, what she is telling us next to that void is this is all by design on a soul level. Oh my God, why did we sign up for this, right? Well, we signed up because it's really important that we are moving beyond just our look at the physical world, that there is an energetic metaphysical world, and that there is an energetic design to collapse a system that is patriarchal, that is linear, and it is not our timeline to really understand the eternal life of the soul. That we are changing our timeline so that our potentiality can come out. We have to face the darkness and the energies that have been conquering or dominating individuals and groups of people, whether it be slaves from what earlier periods are to the current situation where there's a lot of that already, is that we are here to become independent, sovereign souls that work collectively for the greater good of all. We got a ways to go, but there is a design in place and we must participate. This is not just happening to us. We signed up to be here to overcome fear and to stand up and speak and be truth and light or consciousness. So, this is an evolutionary jump that we're in, and there's lots of help in many dimensions, whether you call it astrology, archangels, guides, helpers. There's many beings who are also earth angels who are also going through this, and many light beings who are here to help us become more conscious as a species. I can't say that everybody's going to make that consciousness jump, but many are through this initiation. So please take heed to this on a soul level, is that it's time to just keep making a better decision each day of staying connected, both grounded to the earth through your body to be calm and centered, and to use what you know or what you can to reach up to what is your own personal divinity connected to the greater source of all creation. That there is a lot of help going on, and we need to focus ourselves and be a conduit for that into our own personal lives. And we'll know what to do with it afterwards. This also speaks to what I'm talking about, integrity. The lessons here are all about integrity. How many lies are going on right now? How much deception is going on right now? How many back doors and spineless beings are expressing their fear or their desire for dominance, and I don't know what it is. I can't even identify it. But we're being asked on a personal soul level, a human soul level, to come into integrity between our higher self, our soul, and our human expression. To overcome the challenges of our reality right now, it is really important that we practice what we hope to have happen, that we practice being connected in the light, and then we can be more of it each day, that we can support others by being a light, that in this sphere, the more we can activate and connect to our own divinity and the light and our guides and the higher dimensional systems of love and consciousness, is that we'll begin to penetrate our physical reality into the cells of our body, through our emotional body, through our mind and our thoughts, and our higher selves, allowing this to come into this dimension and be part of how we are shifting the overall situation. Every one of you is important. Every one of you is a channel, whether you know it or believe it. Every one of you is here to be that. All right. So, what is the action? I sound like I've been talking a lot about different action. I'm pretty impassioned about this today. Uh, Interesting. First card in the action is forgiveness. Oh, goodness. That's a big, hard one right now, isn't it? Can we bring the fire into our hearts to allow any hurt, pain, fear, evil, trauma to be burned away through the act of forgiveness? Meaning, don't keep holding on to your anger, your hurt, your pain. It'll only keep you in more hurt, anger, and pain. It's not easy. Every one of us has gone through challenges of needing to move on, of needing to forgive and let go of difficult experiences. We have a lot of difficulty around us right now. To be able to focus on creating a better future personally, in your community, in your state, in your country, there has to be a level on a spiritual and a personality, human level, that we have to be willing to find compassion, mercy, and forgiveness for what has been done. To hold people accountable in is part of it, but also we cannot personally keep holding on to things with grudges, vengeances, without it killing us, without it destroying our own personal lives. That if we hold on to grudges and all these things, it won't empower us to overcome. Maybe you remember, but don't run that energy through your body. It's time to move it out of your heart. Any negative energies or traumas, any frights and fears, and to do your best to let go of what you can let go. It doesn't mean to forget, it doesn't mean to not take action. It means emotionally, physically, and spiritually see what's going on, move through the experience, become as objective as you can by releasing attachment to what it means. Do you hear that? Release attachment, judgment to what something means that you went through. Ask for the higher wisdom to come in so that you evolve and become more masterful in your life, in your emotional life, in your spiritual life, in your relationships. It's a big deal. All right, Morgan Le Fay is the sorceress. She is the magician in the regular tarot deck, and she's here in this to remember or to introduce to you, depending on who you are, that you actually are a very magical being. We are co-creating this reality. Oh, that's a hard one to accept, that you dropped into this world and are part of this on some level. Well, on some level, you're here to learn about and to express that connection, that integration between your higher soul self and how you affect your reality through the invisible world, through the elemental world. That maybe you don't see the connection all the time, but when you start to be curious, when you start to intend it, that the higher dimensions are working for you, that you can command them, that you can call them in, and for the greater good of yourself and the world at large, is that you'll start seeing the synchronicities and the magic showing up in your life. So, some of you who've been following me on Facebook will notice that I talked about synchronicity and magic this last week. I came home from Egypt and I got pretty sick for about a week. Finally got on antibiotics. I was feeling pretty crummy still. And I got a text from one of my friends who has been a student, a client, and she told me her son was very sick in the hospital, and he had been for a while. And I told her, I said, I can't do anything right now, but I knew immediately I wanted to refer her to my friend Ken Lloyd, who's a channel and a healer through light language and other ways that he brings in ascended masters and archangels. And so I made the connection, and a series of events unfolded. And the reason I'm saying, well, that doesn't seem like a big deal that somebody asked me for help and I referred him to someone. Well, it was because normally, because of the events I had to cancel, I was available to receive that message that of needing help. And literally the night before, in my prayers going to bed, I said, please, please, as I heal and move to my next level, Help me be an instrument of healing for this planet. So this is a little example of the magic because one thing led to another, led to another. And Ken ended up showing up at the hospital room for this child who's been in the hospital for a while with a mysterious condition, they're not sure. I could feel he was about to leave his body when I was given this message. At that time, what happened was Ken went over there. He was literally in the same location in Aurora, in a very close area. And he went and spent 2 families with the mother, 2 hours with the mother and the child. And within 12 hours or 24 hours, the child went from needing 10 liters of oxygen a day to 2 liters of oxygen. His verbal ability started to come back. He started to brighten up. He came back into his body. He decided to stay. So, this is a little miracle story in the middle of this because I want you to know it's things like this that become big things that you don't even imagine are possible. We need to imagine that we are magical beyond the destruction and the ugly going on in this planet, in the United States and around the world, in the Ukraine and wherever else it's going on. We need to know that we can pray, that we can visualize, we can act, we can say yes to being more of a force of good in this world than the forces that are not good. And I look at this, I want 1,000 viewers on here. I got 4 right now, and thank you for being here. And I know this is going to go out into the world. Maybe you'll watch and maybe you won't. But this is important stuff, what we're talking about. And I hope you catch the energy of it and not just my passion. Well, that too. I hope this is benefiting you right now. So, love is the next card in the action. It shows 2 dolphins swimming in water. It's emotional. It is really important for us to make personal relationships, friendships, tribal relationships. We need to be forces of love emotionally and in all ways that we can embody that in this world. That is our action. I won't talk a ton about it. I feel like I'm preaching, and I kind of have that tendency. But I'm hoping all of you who do watch this enjoy that. All right, what is our outcome? We got a pretty good outcome, I have to say. I didn't put a timeline on this. I've talked about coming into the equinox, this new cycle that's going on. So I'd say 3 months to a year to 20 years that this is going to be relevant. That Lilith is here in the big picture. She is a goddess of power and equality. She was in early Hebrew teachings and ancient Mesopotamia Adam's first wife. Yeah, he didn't have Eve first. He was born out of the same substance that she was, that Lilith was. They were born equal. So this tells me that this evolution and revolution that we're in and this new cycle that is coming in, not only 12,000 years, but just even the cycle of the equinox coming in, is welcoming us to pursue this equality, to embody the divine feminine, that this is a restoration of the divine feminine. I don't care whether you're male, female, bi, trans, it doesn't matter, is that all of us have male and female energy. We've been operating in a very linear patriarchal system. It's time to come back to the heart and the ferocity of the feminine. Not only the Mother Mary, the Kuan Yin, the compassion, the love, but the Kali, the fierceness of Sekhmet, the fierceness of Lilith, to be sovereign, individuated beings that are working for the greater good of all, that bring in the ferocity of the feminine energy that says, I am equal to, we are all equal in this. Let's be empowered together, not above one another, but together. This is the outcome, is that we are moving toward greater equality and power as a species. And this is really important. It's about the restoration of the divine feminine. Okay? If you want to know more about that, let me know. All right, the Seas card. It's a water suit or the emotional suit. This is a card of cleansing. It's got frogs all around, and they are a very symbol of the goddess and cleansing. So we are in a huge emotional cleansing. There have been trauma from generation to generation to generation. It is time for us. We are moving toward an emotional cleansing as a species. So do what you can personally to be kind to yourself, to let your emotions flow, to let the rage, the anger, and all these difficult emotions come out in places that you can release them safely and appropriately, not upon another person, but in a place that you can let it go and let it fuel you to be impassioned to create a better reality. That this cleansing is needed to change and to heal our DNA, to heal our personalities, to heal our emotions. We've got the wind maiden of clarity in the outcome. So this with these other few cards, I know she's being loud. That's Sophie. She's got a breathing issue. So Maiden of Clarity says that we are here, we are moving toward greater focus mentally from a higher perspective. That is a little bit new. She's a maiden. She's not the mother or the crone. But this, as a species, is moving us to graduate from a lower perspective that is chaotic, that is not clear, into one that is from the higher dimensions. You know, eagles are considered a symbol for spirit or the divine. So are hawks. They're considered messengers from the higher levels of consciousness. So in the big picture, as we move through the chaos, as we do our work to focus on co-creation personally and into the collective, is that what this will ultimately bring. I'm not saying it's tomorrow, but you may see it in different areas of your life if you take some of these prompts and try some of these things or follow this wisdom, is that we're going to move to greater equality. We're going to cleanse our emotions, and we're going to be very clear mentally about how to create and stay focused on what is really important. So I hope this reading was important to you or is helpful. I didn't have as much direct contact of how the guides and angels wanted to come through. They said, we're here. We're all around you. It's really important that you know that the Divine Mother is hugely present with us. Who is she? Well, I just got back from Egypt, and there's many names for the Great Mother or the goddess, the Mother Goddess, from Isis, which many of you know as Isis, but Egypt says Isis. And we have Sekhmet, and we have Hathor, and we have many other names of the goddess, from the goddess Nekbet, which is the vulture goddess, to Wajet, which is the snake goddess. They all have different expressions of the divine feminine energy. And the pharaohs and Ra and all these divine masculine energies were in service to the goddess, basically. That there's a marriage of the two, that ultimately the timeline with the gods and the goddesses was all about the highest potential for humans to understand eternal life and to understand the sacredness of life. So the Divine Mother, I have been channeling consciously for 20, 30 years. It came through my writing to begin with, came through my paintings. I particularly see her as Mother Mary, but the soul of Mother Mary is also the soul of many other goddesses that you see. So the soul of Mother Mary is also Isis, and many of the divine goddesses you see in Egypt. It is also the soul of Kuan Yin, and that they all are expressions of compassion. They're all expressions of giving birth to new life. Isis, in particular, is a goddess who was about death and rebirth, that her husband Osiris was killed by his brother Set, and that she came in. I mean, and in this many stories, he's cut into 14 pieces or into 1,000 pieces and strewn across Egypt. And that she comes in and she finds all the pieces of him and puts them back together and brings them back to life. It's the resurrection story. The Osiris resurrection story is the same as the Jesus resurrection story. There's a distinct connection between these souls and the message to humanity. We are in a dismemberment process now, and the Divine Mother, Isis, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, and these different expressions of her are here to restore us as divine beings, to overcome evil, so to speak. And we are all part of this plan. So calling upon the divine feminine, to call upon the goddess, to call upon Isis, to call upon Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, whomever you relate to, whoever you connect to, know that they're here to help you, bring you into your heart and to protect you. Archangel Michael is right here. He's protecting every one of us. Call him and ask to work with his energy and know that he can disconnect you from negative energies. I'm asking that that happen for all the viewers right now, that he brings in his beautiful blue sword of light. Saint Germain is here. He is bringing in the violet flame. Any of these, some I will do some classes or some online free workshops that will help you with this. That is part of what I'm being told to do. I'm being told to step up to the next level, to help everyone be able to embody more of these energies, to clean out the fear that is controlling you or limiting you in your world. So I want you to imagine that today, this is the beginning of that happening, and that many more distinct actions are going to come and vibrations. This is vibrationally encoded with light language, not only when I spoke, but they're telling me that it is very much encoded with their energies. If you ask, they will help. So know that that is true. When you ask for help, open up and believe it's coming and then look for it. Okay? All right. I'm going to let you go for now. I hope that you feel the love and that you are getting all that you need from this, from all who view this, that you get a healing and you get some inspiration and you feel fortified to take another breath, to know how precious life is, and to know that you are loved. My name's Katherine Skaggs, and I love you all.